Welcome back. Video series of what I would have done in the 2022 NFL Draft. I've already done the video of the analysis of the good, bad, and ugly of what the Tennessee Titans done. This is what I would have done. Why should you listen to me? That's in the first video too, talking about Traylon Burks. I would have taken him as well. In this video, we're going to be talking about the second round pick. And obviously, this is if all the trades went through. I go live before every draft selection for the Tennessee Titans for accountability purposes. You can see that on my Twitter. And without further ado, man, I went ahead and got the quarterback. I went ahead and took drafted quarterback out of Liberty, Malik Willis. Why did I take him? Because at that value, my quarterback won. Quarterback is the most important position in football, hands down. He was my quarterback one for this reason. In a class that has so many borderline stars, quote unquote stars, borderline stars, Malik Willis possessed the physical capabilities to take what he could do and actually take it to the next level to become a superstar, right? And what are those skills? Extremely athletic, twitchy athletic, not quite Lamar Jackson, not quite Michael Vick, but he's somewhere in between. I mean, legit. I mean, one of my first impressions of him was I thought of him as like a hybrid between Josh Allen and Leonard Fournette. Like he runs like Leonard Fournette, like very physical, not running people over, but the twitchiness, the suddenness. This guy's special with his feet. And then you talk about his arm strength, who, competent to Josh Allen, one of the strongest arms in the league. That means something. And, there's obviously things that he's going to have to get better at. And a lot of it is the nuance of the quarterback position, right? It's protections. It's being under center. It's understanding that not every play is a touchdown, surrendering to a check down or to your hot, locating your hots, getting to your quick passes, understanding coverages and where blitzes are coming from, right? Those are the little quarterback nuances that, coaching helps. But everything outside of coaching, he has it all. And it's very interesting to hear what other teams have to say about him in terms of like the reports coming out that nobody thought he was pro ready. Well, I wonder how ready people thought Patrick Mahomes was, or, the other players they took in that 2017 draft, like Trubisky and Watson. Like, I understand that Mahomes was a little bit more brighter from a football IQ standpoint. But as far as decision making, there was nothing really to justify that, especially when things broke down. And, he went to a great situation, had a great mentor in Alex Smith, and look at where he is now. So you look at the Titans, could you say that there's a longer road for him than Patrick Mahomes, who did handle protections at Texas Tech, but he was in the air raid offense. So he understood football a little bit better, okay, per se. But from all accounts, Malik Willis is a bright kid as well, and he's a leader. And I don't think it's as bad as people think. And I think it's one of those situations where people are outsmarting themselves and forgetting that this is a legitimate talent. With all due respect to the quarterbacks of the class, there's going to be a few that actually, can be a starter and do some things and make some noise. But for me, it was a predominant backup quarterback draft. Some of the quarterbacks in this draft class will be the backup quarterbacks of the future that do really well. Maybe not the perennial Pro Bowlers and starters, but the new wave of backups come from this class, and there's nothing wrong with that. So with that being said, I just told you the story of why you take Malik Willis there. And obviously, taking him there, if you're going to nitpick it being a rich pick, considering that it was 51 picks before the Tennessee Titans actually took him. I mean, you can nitpick that, but you have some of the most well-respected draft analysts in the world thinking that he was going to go number 2. So they're 84 picks off, or thinking he was going to go number 20. They're 66 picks off. So with that being said, like, we all thought he was going to go earlier than what he did. And when you look at the talent of the draft, quarterbacks still should have went earlier than what they did. And I've already talked about it in the previous video, but let me just reiterate why I think the quarterback slid in this draft class. So next year, the quarterback class is a lot better. I'm not going to name any names. I've watched a few of them because I'm not going to vouch for anybody, but I've watched some. I should say that. That's how I know. But I haven't watched extensive tape of them. Let me just say that. So I know enough to know that quarterback class is better than this one. I also know that there are a lot of veteran quarterbacks, including Ryan Tannehill, that might become available this season via trade. Who knows what can happen? And next season via opt-outs and free agency. So when you're, as a staff or as a franchise, you're looking at this draft class, who I've already said, I'm not the only one seeing this, that this is a backup quarterback draft, right? And we have other options. Why would we waste a pick, quote unquote, waste a pick, when we can wait our turn next year or get a veteran who's better? And that's really the mindset. Now, I wouldn't say that it justified the players that went before them, because I don't think there are 85 players better than Malik Willis in this draft. I just don't. I don't think that. Just like I don't think there was 73 players better than Desmond Ridder at whatever positions. And Desmond Ridder was in my top 5. I think he has a longer way to go than Malik Willis, but in terms of being super special. But I think he'll be good. But I just think that it was a balance of everything, but it was still improperly done. Malik Willis is a top 50 player in this draft, just talent wise, bro. It's just ridiculous. But it's almost surreal that I see him in the Titans uniform, because who would have thought, man, that pick 86, he will still be available. One of the things that I think that the Tennessee Titans can do early with him, take your time. I'm glad they have a leadership like Mike Vrabel there that's not going to give anybody anything. One of my biggest, how can I put this? One of my biggest game plans for young quarterbacks coming in is, a lot of people think because they're the rookie quarterback or even a high draft pick that you just give them the keys to the city. You give them the keys to the offense. You give them the keys to everything. And from my experience and seeing it and studying, that doesn't work that often unless they're truly generational, truly just a specimen. It doesn't work that often. The best case scenario, the best quarterbacks that come from the high draft pick or situations like that, rookie quarterbacks, are the quarterbacks who sat behind a veteran, who waited a year or two to get the keys to the kingdom, quote unquote. Those players who went through a little bit of competition at the beginning, that it just wasn't given to them. That is a higher success rate. The peak is a lot higher when that's the case, and it makes all the sense in the world. You throw somebody out there early, they might get hurt, or they're being taught the wrong way, so then it becomes a habit way too early than what it should be. Another thing is surrounding them, by those mentors, by those veteran quarterbacks, because how is a young quarterback supposed to learn the NFL if you don't surround them with great quarterbacks in the quarterback room? You want it to be guys who have a lot of knowledge, but it is also good to have quarterbacks that have similar skill sets. But knowledge is knowledge. But with that being said, that was my pick. You guys get to get a little bit more insight on what I think about it. But so far, I'm 2 for 2. What the Tennessee Titans did, just in different order. From here on out, it's going to be different though. So stay tuned to listen to the rest of my logic of what Barnes University, what I would have done as the Tennessee Titans general manager.